Zuckerberg thinks he has
xQc is the goat. My god, is live again. Start xQc reaction, double, triple. Yeah, crisscross, applesauce. Right, you get to listen to three people talking and talking and talking and talking. I love talking, man.
The third
I love
richest
this.
man in the world wants you to think he is
And I
just
love my
like
goat.
you. He dresses like you. He works
My
out
juicer
like
never
you. He
loses.
likes to have fun
Right.
and be
The
silly
legacy
like
is just
you.
massive.
He even loves his family just like you do. Oh, and most importantly, after decades of harvesting your data and controlling the information shown on your social media.
I'm not gonna be a black pill, red pill, whatever. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he deserves it then. Bro, I think a lot of things people were, I think, a little bit too harsh on some of the stuff with this guy. He wants to chill out and be normal. I think he gets to do that. I think he's earned that right.
Feed, he now stands for lower censorship and celebrating your First Amendment right on his platforms. He wants to gain back your trust, but why? Today we are going to uncover what is really going on behind Mark Zuckerberg's new persona. Isn't it ironic that a seemingly antisocial, unrelatable Harvard genius created the framework for the future of human social interaction? If you ever heard Mark have a conversation, you wouldn't exactly mistake him for a socialite.
You seem to be replacing Larry and Sergey as the people out here who everyone's talking about.
Who?
You're just staring at me.
Is that a question?
Because of his awkward demeanor, frequent glitches in speech, and beady, soulless eyes, some people legitimately believe he is not human, that he is some sort of crash test dummy with AI software installed. And look, even though I try to keep my videos mostly objective and fact-based, I also love me a good conspiracy theory. And Zuckerberg not being a real human has way too much evidence for you to not even consider it just a little bit.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human, still.
I was human.
But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not.
Chad, you know, I think unironically, I think a lot of people relate to this. Genuinely. I think people like, haha, dude, I would never do like this, whatever. Somebody being young and successful, being put like a deer in headlights, like boom, spotlight, big fame, and be perfect on camera, whatever. A lot of people would relate that that's probably how they would look like and interact if they were put in this situation.
True.
Zuckerberg, I remember well your first visit to Capitol Hill back in 2000.
Control Houston.
Why is this some of my first interviews for Overwatch? Brother, it's no good.
All right, station, this is Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. Can you hear me okay?
It's a pleasure to talk with you today.
Great to talk to you guys too. And is astronaut ice cream a real thing?
Are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard? I'm gonna...
Hold on, last pause. Hold on, it's a classic. Not this one, I don't think. Hold on.
Hey guys, I am here with xQc, the tank for Team Canada. You guys just completed, you got the silver medal against South Korea, but I mean, against one of the countries with, you know, top esports talent, not too shabby. Can you tell me what it was like playing against them?
Basically they're very, very punishing. There's not a lot of room for error, and they're very dominant in their playstyle. They're very aggressive, so they go fast and they go hard, and it's intimidating. But you know, we got a couple maps. I mean, we got one map, but it was good, I think.
Now, I'm not sure if you heard everyone from the crowd, but you know, when US got knocked out, everyone looked to Canada as NA's last.
I don't think I hold it again, do I?
I think like 90% of the crowd cheering you on. Does that affect you or your team at all?
Claw grip like that.
You know, holy Chad.
It's nice.
Anyway. Chad, I was young. Look.
Been playing pretty clean and super impressed.
All right. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. That is South Korea. It's pretty important for you guys, I would imagine, to get first place, so you don't end up having to face South Korea. Are you feeling pretty confident going up against Russia tomorrow? And what do you think you need to do to get over that hump?
Obviously, they have like star players, Shadowburn and Mistakes. Mistakes gonna look for me, so I'll have to be careful about that. I think we'll still do well.
You know what, dude? I was actually feeling pretty good. I'm the GOAT. Now I think about
it. Yeah, true. He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
And it makes it even harder for him to beat these allegations when he explains to Joe Rogan how basic human conversations work, as if he just made a revolutionary discovery.
Your kind of subconscious kicks in, you start thinking about the topic. So it's like you might not actually have the thing that you want to say until like 5 minutes later. Right. And like when we started this conversation, I think like the first few minutes were just kind of slow. It's like warming up. Like, I'm like, okay, kind of like downloading into my memory, like how am I going to like just explain these different things, but it's yeah, no, I just think that's sort of how people work.
However, we do know that CEOs transform their image and speech to be kind of robotic on purpose. They do rigorous media training because one wrong answer, one wrong word, even a wrong display of emotion can result in overwhelming bad publicity, which could drive down the stock price and upset shareholders. But Mark's robotic demeanor has generated a vast range of conflicting opinions about him, with many believing that he is a power-hungry oligarch looking to destroy human civilization. But to understand where those suspicions came from, we must dive into the dark history of Facebook's origins. Facebook was a stolen idea. In 2004, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss wanted to create a website for Harvard students to add people as friends, send them messages, and update their personal profiles to notify friends about themselves. They called it Harvard Connection, which was later rebranded to Connect You, and they partnered with Mark Zuckerberg to build the website. But Mark had other plans. In leaked instant messages to a friend from his college years, Mark wrote, "So you know how I'm making..."
Execution is everything. If he made the site for them, let's be honest, that shit would have birthed and died in the exact same position, and somebody else would have taken over, and social media as a whole would have been halted for another 2 years. 2-3 years, definitely.
That dating site, I wonder how similar that is to the Facebook thing, because they're probably going to be released around the same time, unless I f*** the dating site people over and quit on them right before I told them I'd have it done. He later confirmed to that friend that he intended on screwing the Winklevosses over, and Mark did exactly that. He built Facebook while delaying Connect You, lying to the Winklevosses and not meeting deadlines. As if stealing their idea and sabotaging their company wasn't scummy enough, Mark also showed how conniving he truly is, attempting to destroy the Winklevosses' reputation. After he left the Connect You team, he hacked into their server, exploited a flaw in their system, and created another Cameron Winklevoss.
Holy. They're fucking robbed. Holy.
Copied his account, like
this is the max win. You've never seen this. This type of max win, you've never seen it.
Mark was extremely aware of his twisted intentions. He even called Facebook users dumb for trusting him, and your data being being in control of someone untrustworthy may not seem like a big deal, but it is. You or I could go to any data broker's website right now and buy anyone's data for a few bucks to target you. If the government can do something like us, they will stop seeing as you're enough. Mark Zuckerberg's face enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is
Aura.
Even his Facebook co-founder was not safe from Zuckerberg's path of destruction. Eduardo Saverin was Mark Zuckerberg's roommate, who loved the idea for Facebook. Eduardo invested $20,000 into the company and was paying for server costs, which was discovered through these leaked messages from Mark's old computer. In return, Saverin was awarded roughly a 30% stake in the company. As the vision for Facebook grew, so did the demands of building it. Mark and the other co-founders packed up and moved to Silicon Valley, the heart of tech innovation, to pour their energy into expanding the platform. Meanwhile, Eduardo moved to New York, focusing on another startup called Jaboozle. Eduardo was responsible for setting up the legal structure for Facebook, raising additional capital, and crafting a solid business plan, which he did not efficiently do according to Mark. As Facebook gained momentum, cracks in their partnership widened. Eduardo's distance from the day-to-day operations frustrated Mark, who had started collaborating closely with Silicon Valley heavyweights like Sean Parker and Peter Thiel. Eventually, Mark and his allies devised a controversial strategy. Through a series of complex and ethically questionable legal maneuvers, they restructured the company to dilute Eduardo's ownership. His stake in Facebook plummeted from 30% to just about 4% by the time Facebook went public. But Eduardo's story didn't fade quietly into the background. Thanks to the dramatic courtroom battles that followed, his own accounts of the events in his book, and the $224 million box office hit movie The Social Network, the world had an extremely negative view of Mark Zuckerberg. Mark said that the movie, quote, made up a bunch of stuff that I found kind of hurtful. Some people look at Mark's past as nothing more than a cocky 19-year-old kid making teenage mistakes, while others feel that this is an extremely concerning origin story for the man who currently has control over the privacy of 3 billion people around the world. Mark has fought relentlessly to maintain an incredible amount of power at Facebook. He quite literally cannot be fired. While he only owns about 13% of the company, he also personally controls nearly 60% of the voting power of Facebook shares, because there are two kinds of Facebook stock. The Class B shares that Zuckerberg and other insiders own have 10 times the voting rights of Class A shares. Because of Mark's shady past and immense power, the press put a little bit of pressure on him. However, Mark refused to give straight answers, particularly when it came to privacy. Like in 2010, when he was asked a very simple question and began to sweat profusely, panicking for seemingly no reason.
Do you feel like it's a backlash, or do you feel like you're violating people's privacy? Do you feel like you're adequately portrayed? Because I want to wonder about the person who actually created this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of stuff happened along the way. I think, you know, there were real learning points and turning points along the way in terms of building things. I can't go back and change the past. I can only do what we think is the right thing going forward. Maybe I should take off the hoodie.
But what exactly was he hiding?
I mean, they squeezed
maybe
them. It is
the
what it
main
is.
driver of his revenue. Since Facebook is a free service, they make nearly all of their revenue by selling advertisements. The surface level business model is relatively simple. The more time users spend on the app, the more ads they can show. Therefore, the goal is to keep growing the user base and keep people on the app as long as possible. But the amount of data that they collect about you in order to show...
The reason why I defend him a lot of times is that people look in hindsight and they criticize a lot, right? But if they were put in the same position, they would do a lot worse. Let's be honest. The vast majority of people in his position would have done a lot
True.
worse.
That's my goat. He knows.
Yet you look down and you look down on them and you point fingers. I'm not a big fan.
What some people don't realize is that people that are better usually are just better in every single way. The people who are worse tend to be worse in every single way. Some people are normal, and then there are outliers, and these outliers, they're just better in every way, dude. Every way. They know better, they do better, they are more competent, more moral, and every way. Every way, right? There's not a single way that you are better than Mark Zuckerberg. The guy's the guy's a billionaire.
Political and religious beliefs.
Is he perfect? No, but he's still better than you in every single way. Has he done scummy shit in the past? Sure. He's still better than you in every single way. Why? Because you're normal. Right? I have no respect for the normal person. You're a normal guy. You chose the easy way out. Every part of your life is standard. You are good in no way. None of the things that you did, you put yourself behind, man. You are normal, and that's what you get. Right? You have nothing. You are nobody. Right? You get none of my respect. Absolutely nothing. And the people I can say, these people I can say, they're bad, right? They do a lot of bad things. They do bad things all the time. Yeah, people do that. People do bad things all the time. Yet they're better than you. Better in every way. Right?
Okay.
If you're nothing,
I think if you just spend a lot
you're
more time
worse
on
than
the
someone
thing,
that is someone.
Your product is better.
And that's just the reality, right? You can put in every bad part about along the way. The thing is, you're focusing on other people. You should be focusing on yourself, because you never look at yourself. You're so ignorant. You think that they do all the bad things and you do everything well, yet it's not turning out well for you. No. The reason you are where you're at is because you chose to do all that. That's your fault. Every part of you is caused by you, only you, right? People keep... They always blame everything on luck, right? Well, why am I not this and this and this? Because I'm not talented enough, you know? I don't have the genetics for this. Why? Oh, well, I didn't grow up in a first world country. Oh, I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have a good education or anything. Yeah. Okay, true. Maybe you're not lucky. Yet, every second of your life, every decision that you made, every thought that you had, all of that was just you. All of it was just you, alright? So you can keep saying that you're lucky or unlucky, and these people are just lucky. Yeah, they're still lucky, but they also made every part of who they are. They are there because of them, and only them, right? They are lucky because they were skilled, right? Their skill made them lucky, and their luck made them skilled. Because skill and luck is the same thing. It's the same thing, and you don't want to admit it, but it's true. It's the same thing. You are at a place that you don't want to be because you are a person that you are not, that is just not good, right? You're not a good person, and you get none of my respect. Absolutely nothing, right? Absolutely nothing.
Remember those goofy personality quizzes you'd see back in the day on Facebook? Well, chances are if you took one, you helped fuel political propaganda.
I don't rage bait. I am the rage bait.
An app called This Is Your Digital Life. The app was presented as a personality quiz that required users to be logged into Facebook to take. So not only did it collect the quiz data, but also all of the personal information that Facebook takes from you. The app also accessed data from users' friends without their explicit consent. Kogan harvested information from up to 87 million Facebook profiles and sold the data to Cambridge Analytica, who then created psychological profiles of Americans for targeted political advertising, deep diving into their exploitable traits obtained from Facebook likes.
The Kenyatta campaign, which we ran in 2013 and 2017 for Kenya.
And what you have done? I will say though, this is some shit you see in like some ultra villain like movie, like this five-head guy with his head in a bottle type shit, fucking like human do this, human do that. This is pretty much what it is. Like, it's crazy.
We have rebranded the entire party twice, written their manifesto, done 2 rounds of 50,000 surveys.
Huge amounts of research, analysis, messaging.
And then we'd write all the speeches and we'd stage the whole thing. So just about every element of his campaign.
But Mark vehemently denies that social media contributes to political radicalization or polarization.
Grounding this conversation in the actual research that has been done on this, which by and large finds that social media is not a large driver of polarization. So the question is...
Okay, that's cap. Okay, bro. I'm kind of a fan of Mark, I'm not gonna lie. That is one of the strongest cap of all. Everybody's wired the fucking... Everybody, even when they're outside, they don't even look outside. They look at their phone, whatever. Bro, most of the idea that they make about the world is they get online. Come on, bro.
Yeah,
Come on,
true.
bro.
What are the unique phenomena in the different places?
And that's also one of the
and I think
reasons
for the
no
people who are
respect for
trying
the
to say,
average
hey,
person.
social media is the thing that's doing this.
You don't think for yourself, buddy.
Clearly doesn't
I'm a fan,
hold
yeah,
up.
I'm a guy.
You don't.
Media is a phenomenon that
I
is
know
pretty
you
much
decide.
equivalent in all of these different countries.
You decide every part of your life, and you decide you want to be a nobody.
Important question: Is it
You want to
Facebook's
just
civic responsibility to
do
regulate
everything that you
an
see.
individual's behavior,
Right.
or is it the
You
user that
see-
needs to take accountability for their own
But
actions and
everything you
beliefs?
see is
But
shit.
Is it even their
Why would you want to
fault if
be
they
a
are
piece of
being
shit?
psychologically
Right?
manipulated by algorithms?
You see
Or
brain
more
rot
importantly,
on social
are these
media. Why do you want to be
politically
brain
charged posts
rot?
even being made by real people?
You see
yes,
the
Facebook is a
entire
private company,
West
but have they become
falling
too
apart
big,
all
too
around
powerful?
you, and why do you want
65%
to
of
be
America
that,
uses
you
one
fucking
of Meta's
cunt?
products. Therefore, they have direct
Why
influence
are you
over
doing
two-thirds of
this?
the country.
Why are you
This
doing
resulted in
this?
Facebook getting slammed in the media, specifically
I guess
blaming
no
them
respect
for
because you
spreading
don't try to be
political
unique, you don't try to
misinformation
be
that they
creative, you
believe
don't try
led
to
to
be
the
competent,
election
you
of
don't try to
Donald
be
Trump.
anything, right? You
I
just
was
try to
really
be a fucking
worried
noob,
from the beginning
taking the easy
about
way out.
basically
And you are
becoming this
you
sort
don't
of
get my respect for
decider
that,
of
man.
what is true in the world.
None of
Or
it.
that's like kind of
None
a
of it. You
crazy
don't deserve
position
anything.
to be in
You don't
for
deserve
billions of
anything.
people using your service.
You
So the
worked.
company invested in
You
a
did nothing to get
complicated
where you're at.
bureaucratic
Alright?
operation of
You did nothing. You
independent
just did what
third-party
everybody else
fact
did.
checkers globally who are certified through the
Or you pull no
nonpartisan
weight.
international fact-checking network. Unfortunately, this system wasn't deemed to be good enough or accepted by really anyone, but
Right, you
more
get
specifically the U.S. government.
what you
So they
deserve
called Mark Zuckerberg in
for the
for a
weight you pull, and
congressional
you pull the
hearing
weight.
in regards to Facebook's privacy and
There's
use
a
and
few
abuse
people
of
that pulling
data,
all the weight,
and this
and
could
you're
not
one
have
of them.
gone any
You're
worse
just
for
not
Mark
one of them.
Zuckerberg. His robotic speech was worse than ever. He was looking incredibly nervous, looking like he had to remind himself that humans have to blink and drink water occasionally. He sat on a booster seat to make himself appear taller. His face was pale white. His eyebrows were non-existent. He had a terrible haircut and there was no soul in his eyes. He looked like an avatar of...
Dude, let's be honest. Bro, they probably had this guy up at night all the way to fucking like 3 a.m. with a bunch of like chair holders, people and shit like that. spamming with information. Like they say this, they say that. And bro, this guy's brain was probably actually maxed out, like it was gonna burst out of his skull.
He had a terrible haircut and there was no soul in his eyes. He looked like an avatar of himself and it was creepy. But what he said was even worse than how he looked.
Senator, I think as a general principle, I think protecting minors and protecting their privacy is extremely important. And we do a number of things on Facebook to do that already, which I'm happy to get into.
And I appreciate it. I'm talking about a law. I'm talking about a law. Would you support a privacy bill of rights for kids where opt-in is the standard? Yes or no?
Senator, I think that's an important principle. And
I appreciate that.
And I think we should.
Do we need a law to protect those children? That's my question to you. Do you believe we need a law to do so? Yes or no?
Senator, I'm not sure if we need a law, but I think that this is certainly a thing that deserves a lot of discussion.
I couldn't disagree with you more. We're leaving.
Like usual, he couldn't give a straight answer.
Well, that's a good dodge,
He's a professional corporate question dodger.
Do they provide the same service you provide?
In different ways, different parts of it,
Let me put it this way. If I buy a Ford and it doesn't work well and I don't like it, I can buy a Chevy. If I'm upset with Facebook, what's the equivalent product that I can go sign up for?
Well, there's the second category that I was going to talk about.
I think a discussion is good enough.
What?
You don't know, sometimes a lot can be counterintuitive to what you want it to be. I feel like in a lot of sense, you make it sound something like, oh, a lot to do this. I think a discussion is always more important because you don't want to cause some damage that will go against what you're trying to achieve. I think that's an important point.
Sign up for.
Well, there's the second category that I was going to talk about.
I'm not talking about categories. I'm talking about, is there real competition you face?
Yes, Senator. The average American uses 8 different apps to communicate with their friends and stay in touch with people, ranging from texting apps to email.
Is the same service you provide?
Well, we provide a number of different services.
Is Twitter the same as what you do?
It overlaps with a portion of what we do.
You don't think you have a monopoly?
It certainly doesn't feel like that to me.
So after 5 hours of painstaking investigation, the American people learned basically nothing about how Facebook works, what they do with user data, and it did not immediately result in changes in legislation. However, in regards to the Cambridge Analytica...
What do you do if your site becomes too big and now it's like a de facto monopoly? Do you have to make your product worse? Do you have to cut down and give other people a chance? I don't really understand how that even works. You have to say, my product is too good. Here, we're gonna make it actually worse. Let's just say fuck it. And today the servers are gonna go down 2 days a week until somebody else picks up the competition. What a joke! You shut the fuck off.
Politico scandal. In 2019, the Federal Trade Commission fined Facebook $5 billion for privacy violations. Facebook stole your data, and the government got a payday.
It's tough to be at the other end of that.
What was it like?
Well, it's not good. I think. Well, the thing that I think is actually the toughest, though, is it's global, right? So, and really, when you think about it, the U.S. government should be defending its companies. I do think that the American technology industry is a bright spot in the American economy. I think it's a strategic advantage for the United States that we have a lot of the strongest companies in the world. I think it should be part of the U.S.'s strategy going forward to defend that.
But it was about to get worse. If you thought the world was chaotic during the 2016 election, it pales in comparison to the 2020 pandemic. People were locked inside, petrified of getting sneezed on, the virus death toll seemed to be exponentially increasing, and different information came out every day about the proper protocol to stop the spread. Zuckerberg 100%...
Still the cop. Nobody was fucking scared, dude. At least not in my generation. There's anybody that's under the age of 30, we don't care. Right? We didn't care. It was nothing, which is normal. Yeah. Right, everybody stop pretending that it wasn't. It's so overdone. It wasn't scary. It wasn't important. It was just a moment of a couple of dumb fucks being overly scared. But I mean, come on, bruh. It wasn't that important at all. And it didn't have that big of an impact on your life at all. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
While they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who was basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true. Right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is inarguably true.
Now, at the time, if you thought mass censorship was happening, you would have been called a conspiracy theorist. But today, Mark seemingly has the confidence to criticize the US government, specifically criticizing the Biden administration after they lost the 2020.
In my opinion, those words are pretty flat, right? When the wave is currently pushing on your side. It speaks volumes to say these things when you're against a wave because you want to say it. It's something that you feel like the public deserves to know rather than, oh, we're already going this direction, I'm not going to get any pushback. If you say during the Biden administration, right, you say, yo, they pushed us to say this shit, these fucking dumb fucks, they should have done it, right? Then you're saying because it has to be heard, right? But if you're saying that when the government changes and these people already agree with that, you say, oh, they were doing that. You'll say, yeah, okay, yeah. Now you're one of the bros. Yeah, exactly. We've been saying that. Now you're saying that. We're bros, whatever. No, say it when it actually means something. Because now we're saying that, it means nothing anymore. It's not even a conversation anymore.
For election.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
This is what I'm sorry, I want to be on the winning side looks like. Many people believe that Zuckerberg is pandering to the renaissance of private citizens demanding less censorship and less government control over information, and he's shifting all of the blame to the Biden administration that is no longer in power and being like, oh my god, the government is so corrupt, right guys? But he isn't just blaming the government, he is also blaming the third-party fact-checking organization he hired for being too biased. This has resulted in a major change in content policy on Facebook.
First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote non-stop about how
I genuinely don't know what is the solution to fact checking. I gotta be honest with you, chat. I've thought about this before. I had this internal dialogue, whatever. How do you fact check? What says what is the middle, what is left, what is right? It's impossible. Let's be honest. It's an impossible concept.
Information was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
One of Meta's fact-checking partners,
even on the live television biggest stage of the candidates for presidency debates, they can't even fact check correctly. Like, it's hard to actually do it properly.
Responded to this saying they used Meta's tools to submit fact checks and followed Meta's rules that prevented the group from fact-checking politicians. Meta ultimately decided how to respond to the fact checks, adding warning labels, limiting the reach of some content, or even removing the posts. This again just furthered the idea for people that he is trying to absolve himself or his employees of any blame for being a part of the machine used to control narratives, amplify hate, suppress facts, and ultimately divide Americans. And whether or not this is a clever smokescreen or a genuine concern, it is clear that Mark does understand some major shifts in public discourse.
They trust the creators and the voices that they feel like are being authentic and giving them valuable information on there. So there's, I think, going to be just this whole new class of creators who basically become the new kind of cultural elites that people look at and are like, okay, these are the people who give it to me straight. I think that's a thing that is, maybe it's possible because of social media.
But why does Mark all of a sudden feel like he needs to speak out against these issues? He says it's not because of the election, but then immediately contradicts that by saying how they tried to make company decisions based on whatever the mainstream opinion is.
I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people look at this as like a purely political thing. It's because they kind of look at the timing and they're like, hey, well, you're doing this right after the election. It's like, okay, I try not to like change our content rules like right in the middle of an election either, right? It's like there's not like a great time to do this. It's,
right.
And you want to do it a year later.
Hold on. Like I think that's reasonable. I don't think that's an unreasonable thought process.
There's no good time to do it. There's, right. And whatever time is going on, there's going to be... The good thing about doing it after the election is you get to take this kind of cultural pulse as like, okay, where are people right now and how are people thinking about it?
Okay.
We try to have
okay, chat. If you did that before 1 month, it's close to the election, right? 6 months, it's during the last push of the elections, right? anywhere in that year, there's not really a good place to do it.
Policies that reflect, mainstream discourse.
Shifting gears after an election cycle isn't exclusive to Facebook. Businesses of this size are always cautiously straddling the fine line between opposing ideologies, doing their best to stay attractive in a turbulent political climate. But many believe that the only reason his perfectly timed shift in ideology is even remotely believable is because of his physical transformation, that this is all a highly calculated PR campaign. Nobody would buy a single word he is saying if it was coming from the empty-eyed, pale-skinned, horrible haircut, and robotic speech Mark Zuckerberg. The last time he tried to
cut is not even bad,
it made him look less human
it's
than
a nice
ever.
cut.
Really
Be honest, it's a good cut.
Look
at the cut. It's a nice cut, man.
All these activities, grilling meats, racing cars.
Stop making fun of him, man. It's a good cut.
Two of the most fun things that you can do. So,
hey, really? Yo, hold on.
Yeah.
So he traded in the prim and proper cut for some modern messy curls, replaced
these curls are just
for an
dog
oversized
shit.
boxy
They're
fit streetwear tee and a long gold chain. But it doesn't stop at the surface.
So
Mark
bad,
even
man.
ditched
Is
the
this a
sedentary
cut or
office
with the
lifestyle
cut?
for the action-packed world of mixed martial arts, training with some of the most lethal fighters in the world. He often posts his black eyes and injuries, and even says that he would like to one day compete in a real MMA match. Suddenly, he becomes less of an enigma and more like someone you might meet at a local gym, grappling with the same struggles and setbacks as any aspiring athlete. He has expressed.
Guys,
how old is he?
Like, oh yeah, I would
Is
do
he
that,
like
do this or whatever, right?
35?
And Mark was like, okay, let's actually fight it, whatever, right? And
Like he's pushing 40 for sure.
Up.
Like the guy, he's not. There's no way he's ripped.
A newfound love for him.
There's no way he's ripped at
Bro,
that age.
he would have sent him to the Shadow Realm
himself. And with this transformation,
look at his face.
Mark
There's no
thinks
way
he
he's
has
ripped.
you fooled. He thinks that you can't tell that this is a PR campaign.
But when you're fighting, it's like, no, that's like, I think in some ways when people see me competing in this sport, they're like, oh no, that's the real Mark. It's like, because it goes back to all the media training stuff we were talking about. When I'm going and giving my sound bites for 2 minutes, it's like, no, it's like, fuck that guy. It's like, that's the real one.
But why does he need you to like him or trust him? He is nearly the richest man in the world. He has over 3 billion people using his products. What more could he possibly need?
Well,
it could be argued that he is only now contributing to the narrative that our current world is borderline dystopian.
Because everybody is young on the internet or whatever, and in order to do some change that he wants to do, it has to be cool. If it's not cool, it doesn't pass. Nobody gives a fuck something is wrong as long as it's cool.
In hopes that those listening will flee to a world that he created, a world that he calls the metaverse. Zuckerberg rebranded the company as Meta on October 28th, 2021.
Yeah,
and
this is just like
conveniently
this is
during
just
the
goofy.
heat of the pandemic,
This
he revealed a new
metaverse stuff is
plan
just
for
goofy.
an embodied internet experience,
You know why?
explaining it as a way to be inside of
Because
or
not enough
one
energy.
with the content,
Right?
rather
The world,
than viewing it on a screen.
all the politics, it's all about energy. Right?
This is Mark's Google
People
Glass
want
era.
the energy
Oh, good, no.
because
Perfect.
the energy makes us able to collect resources, which that makes us able to have an army. That makes us able to have nice housing and produce better goods. Right? Literally every part needs energy. Needed to run the previous equipment, needed to run the future equipment, and you need to innovate. You need energy for every part of your life. All of it is about energy. We have no shot, or there's no shot we have enough energy to run some
Roblox and
VR
VR
dystopia.
However,
There's just no
Facebook's version
point,
is called
alright?
Meta
There's no
Horizon
fucking
Worlds,
point.
and it's an abysmal failure. Most people think this is just a bad video game with no storyline, no purpose, and horrible graphics. But Mark Zuckerberg genuinely believes that this is the future of human civilization, that we will all one day work, socialize, and play in this reality that he created. But it's not working. After investing $36 billion into this new venture, Horizon was only used by about 200,000 monthly users at its peak. Since then, it's been dropping in user.
Wait, 200,000 monthly?
Yeah.
Brother, how much, chat?
Play Daisy now.
Chat, people don't know about numbers. Chat, how much could that have been daily? You can't just split it up like that.
Because not only do people have the equipment, because the equipment is both unusable and too expensive. People just don't have this.
They got so desperate for new users that in
They don't
August
want
of
to use it because it's
2024,
worse
they
than
lowered the
a
age gate
normal
to
computer.
10-year-olds, hoping to
Normal
get the
computer is better.
unsupervised youth addicted to his platform. But despite VR not going exactly to plan, Meta recently
Like, this is
launched
so
Orion,
stupid.
their augmented reality glasses that merge the digital and
Spend
physical
1 hour
landscape.
in VR and you know
right now
it's
we have our
fucking
phones,
shit.
but we're like it takes you away
Play
from,
one
the
game.
physical environment
You know,
around you. You're kind of
Half-Life,
stuck into
the
this little
Half-Life
screen.
game.
I think now in the future, our computing
Super
platform,
hot.
as it becomes
Play
more of a
one of
glasses
the
or eventually contact
old
lens form
games.
factor, the internet
If you
is
knew
gonna get
they were
overlaid
putting out
on
all the
physical
stops,
world.
being
And if you can
all
get
of the
past the
creativity
big, goofy
to
frames,
sell the
this does
product.
seem like really
Now
cool
all the games are
technology that
trash.
has been glamorized
Everybody
in
plays the old
sci-fi
ones,
movies
right?
for decades,
Everybody plays
but all it
VR
took was a
chat
couple
and
motivated
the
college
early
students to
two
show
games
this
that
is
released.
For this to be even close to mainstream chat, guys, I said it last time.
Play them and you
I
know
said
for
something
one, right? You
If this
know,
would need another-
alright, this game was fine.
2 decades minimum.
But
dangers that these glasses provide.
it's at,
15 years.
it's at most comparable to the normal version and worse than other games in every way.
Changes that are as
And
big as
this is
wearables.
fucking tiring.
need to be
And
so far
I
above.
feel like there's a
It needs
dent
to be-
in my fucking
it needs to be
brain, in
so
my
much
skull,
better than everything
for
else
wearing this piece
for
of shit.
people to start
That's what
onboarding
you
that.
feel. You
Chat,
feel
when people
tired,
start
you feel
onboarding
depressed,
those things,
and you
it
feel
can't be
like
just
you
good
wasted your
enough or
time
better. It has
for
to be
and
way
money
better.
on something
It's a
that is
big change.
This photos used to analyze
like
them, and after a
marginally
few
worse
seconds, their
in every
personal
way.
information pops up
It's
on your
so bad, dude. It's so bad. Just so fucking bad, man. Nobody likes VR. Nobody likes it.
Your Korean name is
Right?
Ju.
They only like it for porn.
If that's
the
what
only thing.
two
They like it for
bored
porn.
college students could
They want
create,
VR
imagine
chat
what a
with porn.
$268
Porn.
billion company could
Porn.
do. But the only thing Zuckerberg believes in more than the metaverse is artificial intelligence. Mark dubbed 2023 the year of efficiency, with Meta relying on more and more AI, which has resulted in tremendous layoffs. 86,482 people worked for Meta in 2022. Today, 67,317 people work there. That is 19,195 layoffs, or a 22% decrease in the workforce.
So what?
But Zuckerberg thinks that this is actually a positive thing for humanity.
It's incredibly positive. Brother, when the company is booming, they're going all in, always in the surplus. When you start going into the future, you're gonna have to downsize. Like what?
Can I pretty
Humanity, that they will have more time to be creative.
A lot of the code in our
I'm an
apps
idiot.
and
Guys, this is a classic thing in tech. It's so common. The company is big. You don't know how big it can be. A lot of investors are coming in. A lot of surplus. A lot of hype. You never want to be shortchanged. You don't want to be. Oh, we don't have enough resources for this. The company grows. At one point, it comes to a point where like, okay, guys, we're not really growing that much anymore, right? Things start going down. The costs are outweighing the growth, and you don't see the future anymore. You're gonna have to downsize. All the surplus, all the people that are pretty much doing nothing. Every tech company is a bunch of people doing fucking nothing. The fact that you guys defend the most lazy, doing fuck all, nothing employees.
Yo, look at it this way.
Who cares about a layoff?
Right, half of the people are normal people. They are normal in every way. They are just normal. They work normal. They think normal. They think the way every other normal person does. That's just how it is. There's a range of people that work or that provide way more, or a quarter of the society provides way more than everybody else. Than the other 3/4, they provide way more, right? Way more on an increasing scale, right? There's some people that provide a bit more that still belong in a quarter, and there's some people that are outshine everybody in every single way, right? That are just better. They work harder, more creatively, they're smarter, they provide way more insight and work, and are better people, and are richer people, and have better kids, and have better wives, and have better families, and have a better legacy. They're just better in every way. And there's other people that take advantage of the society, and they don't work, they are stupid, they do nothing, they're druggies, and they just take advantage of everything and do nothing. That's a quarter, right? You can look at all the people around you. A quarter of those are a negative impact to you in every way, right? So you just get them the fuck out, right? Get them the fuck out, man. Right? If that's your child, disown them. If that's your wife, right? Kill her and put her and drive her in her car in a ditch and then bury her and eat her, right? If that is your friend, I don't know, torture him to death. I don't know, something like that. If it's your teacher, I mean, I don't care. Do whatever you want to them, right? Whatever it is. If these people you want to get rid of them, basically. I'm just joking, right? I'm just joking. I don't kill people. I don't think about killing people ever. I don't kill people, right? I don't think about brutally twisting somebody's head off and twisting their neck and then eating them. I don't do that, alright? I'm not dung eater. I don't do all that. It's not me, right? It's not me. It's not me. But get rid of these people. They don't do anything. They're a negative impact on you. They're a negative impact on everybody that you know. And if you're that guy, then you're just like me. You're just like me, right? So you just want to get rid of these people as a quarter, and every single time you wanted to get rid of them. Just get rid of them. The normal people are fine. The normal people are fine, bruh. They can swing both ways. Some people are exceptional in the normal group, and they can swing both ways if they improve or get worse in some certain ways. But they're gonna just try to get rid of that. Look at what that group is. Get rid of them. And every time you do that, you get a little bit better and better and better. And then eventually you get a perfect product. And that probably never happens because you die before it happens. Right?
The thing is not doing shit.
And then your successor is just going to fuck it up. Your successor is going to fuck it up because you don't have the vision. And they're probably one part of the quarter of the battle. Right? That's like a one of the four. One of the four. Right? That's 3 people.
Overseer. I make sure
one great.
That some words are not being used too
right?
much.
And the successors are probably
like, a lot of
2 Normandis who do nothing, and 1 bad guy, right? So what you want to happen is
they're going to be freed up to do kind of crazy things.
You want to have the bad guy probably never, right? So it's a 50-50. You to have a bad or good, and you never want to have a normal after bad, because the normal is just going to continue the way it's going. And if the bad guy was before the normal, they're going to fuck it up, right? They're going to really fuck this up for multiple generations. They're going to fuck everything up. So if you get 1 good guy and then a couple of normal, it's just going to stay good. It's going to stay good. Once you get bad though, you want to have a good after. Otherwise, you're just going to fuck it up forever.
Psychologists, sport experts and scientists, data scientists. Every team had like 10 posts, 10 employees that are in the squad. And now these days, we're reverting back to the old school days of where you have like 1 coach, 5 players. That's it. Why? A lot of it is superfluous. When you have more funding, more investors, you have a lot of money. All of it, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's do that. But down the line, when things start to be more, you have to be more civil in how much money you make, how much money you spend. Yeah, a lot of shit goes out the window. But dude, the layoffs, dude, no, not the sports scientist, therapists for my CS:GO players. Dude, the CS:GO team. Yeah, pussy man. Bro, we need the guys. No, you need to be mentally aligned, but bro, like some of this shit needs to go. It is what it is. Like,
and he's
what are you on about?
Posting from his isolated island ranch in the middle of the ocean, hunting, fishing, raising cattle, and learning how to defend himself. It's almost like he is preparing for a catastrophic event. He spent $187 million on 1,600 acres of land on the island of Kauai. This island is also not dependent on tourism, which means that it is currently self-sustaining and survivable. But even if it's not, he is building a 5,000 square foot underground bunker complete with its own energy and food supplies. He even shared a video to his Instagram of a massive movie theater built underground, so at least he won't be bored.
You do have a bunker there. Is there something you know that we don't?
No, I think that's just like a little shelter under. It's like a basement.
A little shelter. What are you worried about?
A billionaire who can artificially control the information of 3 billion people is not your friend. Mark likely doesn't want to connect with others in the metaverse, but he does want you and your kids there. And the money that you make for him will be used to keep himself isolated on one of the most beautiful, resource-abundant wonders of the world. He will spend the rest of his days having deep conversations with friends, singing songs to his children around a campfire, cooking feasts for his pack using antibiotic-free cattle that they raised, and fresh produce with 0 chemicals and preservatives. He will hunt, fish, fight, and learn how to build things with his hands. He will breathe fresh air, drink fresh water, and enjoy all the precious God-given resources in an age-old utopia. You, on the other hand, will own nothing, live in perpetual debt, spend nearly 100% of your time in the...
I don't like when this guy engaged in these type of dialogue. I don't like it. Sorry, I have to be critical of this. it's bro.
A virtual
What do
world
you mean?
chasing
He's
fleeting
right, though.
moments of pleasure while your physical body withers
Right?
away.
I think
Artificial
what
intelligence
xQc
will
says here
operate
is
as an
because
untouchable
he
ruling
doesn't
class,
understand because he's
controlling
talking
every
to the
facet of
normal
existence,
person. This is what
The more money
normal
you
person
accumulate, the
life
more
is,
freedom
right?
you have, the more maneuverability you have.
You get shit thrown at you, and well, you just have to deal with it because in the past you made poor decisions that led you to be normal, and you're now at the mercy of the people that are great.
Like I have to be relatable, bro.
And the people that are great, it's a 50-50. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. It's a 50-50.
What little remains of
like I
human
said,
autonomy,
quarter.
you will be trapped in a dystopian hellscape.
And of those quarters, less than 1% is really great, and less than 1% of that is truly great, and less than 1% of that is greatest of all time. Right?
Isn't that what the
And then it's a 50-50, right? One guy is a fucking saint, and the other guy is a mass murderer. That's the difference, right? That's the difference.
You can make it. You can go from
I mean, they're always in the same ballpark, but there's such a massive difference.
That's the whole point, was to
Right,
get financial freedom and do what you want with your life.
The path you take in life, it is a massive difference.
That was the whole point.
So big.
Right,
you can be the devil at one point and an angel at another.
This guy can't do it.
If you're great, which you're not.
Dumbass,
because,
like
right,
defeatist
you know,
mentality.
for people like you can basically assume if you're not great when you're 2 years old, if you're not better than everybody else in your classroom when you're 2 years old, you don't have a shot at all. And if you're that guy, you still probably don't have a shot, right? Let's see in 2 more years. If you're 4, are you still greater than everybody else in your classroom? Probably not, right? No, you're not. No, you're not. But if you are, you still have an even better shot. If you're 6 years old, are you greater than everybody else in your classroom? No, probably not anymore. But if you still take that every 2 years, do the same thing. Then, when you're 12 years old, you are the best. You're the greatest in your community, probably. You're the greatest in your community. You kept this up for your most important developing years. You're still Chad Lord, right? At 12 years old. Now comes a path in life. You get to decide if you're gonna be fucking terrible or if you're a good person. And you're probably gonna decide you're fucking terrible because most people do this, right? Most people do this, and at that point it's just luck. Either you become a miserable, depressed piece of shit, working class motherfucker, and you turn your life to shit, or you still become great and you're a piece of shit, right? If you at this point choose to do better and keep doing better and keep doing better, you might just be a great person. You might just become great. But that's not you, right? No. That is not you.